Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and Rick. It's that time of the year. Everyone is out except for two teams. We have the 112th Grey Cup. Rick, this is on one hand, this is incredibly happy in the sense of this. It's Grey Cup. It's the best time. It's the best time of the Canadian football calendar. But there's also a bit of sadness knowing that once the game is done, then we got to wait till next year to see CFL football.
To be honest,
yeah.
You may say it's bad news, but actually, in all honesty, we're not that far out because free agency discussions, the cheat window that people call it,
yeah,
is the last week of January.
Fair enough.
So it's not that far.
It's not as far as I thought, and we are going to try to improve our off-season coverage.
One other thing that I will mention, is don't forget, coaching staffs have to be announced before free agency.
Yes.
And we don't want to break other news, but there's some little tidbits that are out there. Because nothing's official yet, so we can't say yes, we can't say no. But there are some tidbits out there, and people will have to wait to hear what those tidbits could or could not be.
There are rumors about potential things, I'm aware.
Because you can betcha we're going to be breaking it as soon as it happens.
Oh, yeah. And my mood will be really dependent on the news that is being broken. So that'll...
Well, let's just say you guys could win. You guys could lose one, you could lose two, or you could lose none.
Well, I will say one of them I'm very much more hell-bent on keeping over the other, but we'll...
Wait. I take that back. Or you guys could lose three.
Anyways. Grey Cup, Rick.
Anywho,
Grey Cup.
Yes, Grey Cup.
This is going to be a long one. Like, we're a couple minutes into our recording now. I don't know how long this recording is going to be. I would be shocked if it's under an hour, because I know we are going to really dissect this about as much as we possibly can. Now, this is where I think we need to start the way that we usually try to start, Rick. It's those good old-fashioned injury reports. So, for those not wondering, the Alouettes are wearing dark. They're wearing their blue. And the Riders are wearing their white for this game. That has been confirmed. So I just want to put that out there, just because we're going to look into a bunch of stats, everything lined up later on.
So in other words, you're going to be able to tell if Saskatchewan's actually working hard or hardly working.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to tell by the grass stains on their jersey.
To be fair, we use turf, though, so I'm not sure how much it would affect, because we have turf, yeah. Princess Auto Stadium. Starting with the away team, Riders are wearing white for this game, so we'll consider it that. Injury report for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Oh, we lost Rick. We lost Rick. Hold on a second, folks. Even in the Grey Cup, we lose Rick. Look at that. Oh. We have him back.
I was kicked.
What?
Streamlabs says I was kicked from stream.
I did not kick you.
At the door.
I did not kick you. I wanted to know the injury report. That's all I wanted.
I was going to say the injury report, and then it said I was kicked.
Yeah, but because it said you just disappeared off my screen.
Oh.
Anyways.
Joe is full Wednesday and Thursday with an ankle injury.
Oh yeah.
Mario Anderson Jr. did not practice both days. He's running back with a knee injury. CJ Avery is linebacker with biceps. Did not practice both days. Baldondo, defensive line, ankle, limited Wednesday, full Thursday.
Baldonado.
Yes.
Yep.
Kadeem Carey, completely forgot that he was on Saskatchewan. Running back knee, did not practice Wednesday and Thursday. Dallaire, defensive line, knee, did not practice. Philip Gagnon, offensive line, head, full practice both days. Keyshawn Johnson, wide receiver, knee, did not practice both days. Lake Keontre Moore, defensive line, knee, did not practice both days. Nelson Lacombo, DB, thigh, was limited Wednesday, full Thursday. Benoit Marion, D-line, shoulder, did not practice both days. You have Sean McEwen, offensive line, knee, did not practice both days. Shane Ray, D-line, neck, did not practice both days. Mr. Redwine himself, DB, leg, full Wednesday, limited Thursday. Joe Robicelli, wide receiver, head, did not practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. And that is it, besides all the load management people.
Yep. And on the Alouette side of things.
Alouette side gets very interesting.
Oh.
So, Seontae Evans, DB, shoulder, did not practice both days. David Dallaire, fullback, knee, did not practice both days. Mustafa Johnson, D-line, shoulder, full Wednesday, limited Thursday. Jesse Gibbon, offensive line, knee, did not practice both days. Caleb Evans, quarterback, knee, did not practice Wednesday and Thursday. Gabriel Lassard, linebacker, wrist, did not practice Wednesday and Thursday. Mr. likes to be the villain himself, Davis Alexander, quarterback, hamstring, limited both days. Austin Mack, wide receiver, hamstring both days, limited. And you have James Letcher Jr., wide receiver, lower leg, limited.
Yeah. And this is with Davis Alexander being a little shaken up, but we know there's no way Alexander does not.
To be honest, I don't even think he's been the same ever since that first hamstring injury.
Yeah, although again, I think it was pretty clear from the ending of last game, everything he had said, and also just kind of based on everything you know about Davis Alexander. Unless the stretcher came out, Davis Alexander was going to find a way to be in this game.
You know what I'm wondering is if if he didn't come in and play against Toronto that second game, you know which one I'm talking about, the meaningless game? If he would have been healthy by now, like 100% healthy by now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even with him not being 100%, it's worked out pretty well for him so far. I think the big question is, does that potentially get aggravated at any point during that game? That's the only thing that could be.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the last 2 or 3 minutes of the Montreal Hamilton game, he was not throwing it. Yeah. I mean, the odd you'd see a throw here or there, but he was handing it off an awful lot.
That's true. Although, to be fair, that they also could afford to a certain extent. We don't have technically the depth charts for this week, but I think we can pretty much assume that these are going to be almost identical to the ones from this past week. Which, if you want to see the depth charts to those, you guys should join our Discord, as it's in there under CFL depth charts. Link in the description below to the Discord, so make sure you guys join up, as everything you need CFL related, NHL, all sorts of sports, it's all in there. So looking at the depth charts that we have here in the Discord, Um, should we start with the rider side of stuff, or not the rider side, but I guess the start going through it position by position the way we do, Rick?
Sure.
So this is going to be another instance for this is going to be the third time for Davis Alexander that it is the rookie versus the veteran. It was the rookie versus the veteran against Winnipeg. Zach Collaros, the veteran. Davis Alexander, the rookie. It was the rookie versus the veteran against Hamilton. The rookie, Davis Alexander, the veteran, Bo Levi Mitchell. Now he goes against Trevor Harris, which, interestingly enough, I think Trevor Harris is, firstly, I think Trevor Harris is, depending on the way you rank them, is either, Trevor Harris compared to Bo Levi Mitchell and Zach Collaros is either second or third, in the sense of, I think Bo Levi Mitchell is better than Trevor Harris. I think the question is, do you put Zach Collaros ahead of Trevor Harris? As a Bomber fan, I'm inclined to do so, but I totally understand why people don't, as he's had problems with his game. What do you think of that, Rick?
I just find the fact that, I mean, each team, each quarterback can do their thing. Like, obviously, Harris could come out strong. Alexander could come out strong. Because, Alexander's just going to be running off to the sidelines, pissing off fans.
I will say there is certainly a showboating aspect of Davis Alexander that really gets under people's skin, both players and fans alike. In the sense of, you know what he is? He's very much like if you have him on your team, you love him. But if you're playing against you, you hate his guts. Now, one area I will say is, in terms of QB depth, the Riders, I think, clearly have the Alouettes beat here. Jake Maier is a far more suitable backup than Bethel Thompson. Not that Bethel Thompson can't be, but Bethel Thompson has been a lot more streaky. His games have either been a big hit or a big miss. And they got Shea Patterson in there, and he was good, but Jake Maier had gotten so many reps as a starter for Calgary that having him as a backup is just a really strong presence. Tommy Stevenson's short yardage is very good for Saskatchewan. I think Davis Alexander, I would have Davis Alexander slightly ahead of Trevor Harris here in the QB department. However, at the same time, that can be very easily changed depending on if he takes some hits, if he gets hurt, all that sort of stuff. So just kind of an important thing to factor in there. What do you think about the QB matchup in terms of kind of ending verdict for that?
I mean, as much as Rider fans don't want to hear this, I'm going to say it anyways. Rider fans, get used to it, because this could be your last time you have a good quarterback in Saskatchewan.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd go that far, but the this might be the last time you got Trevor Harris, and afterwards next year there's not that you're not going to have a good quarterback, but there's uncertainty.
I mean,
there's certainly uncertainty.
Okay, let me rephrase this. The people that are out on the free agent or soon to be free agent market are not starting caliber quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they give Jake Maier another crack. Who knows? But that'll be a problem for them for later. They got Trevor Harris for this game. I give the slight edge to Montreal in favor of starters. However, depth, I give it to the Riders. Where are you at with that? That's what I'm looking for.
Alexander
versus Trevor Harris. Nothing else factored in.
I'm just
assuming healthy.
Assuming healthy, Alexander.
Okay. But if it's not healthy, do you then go to the Riders in terms of the depth?
Depends on how much their defense plays.
Okay.
Like if Riders defense does not get to Alexander, then you can still technically say Alexander.
Interesting.
So it
Now
all depends on how well Alexander does.
Now, the interesting thing here is that now that moves us to the running backs, which in Saskatchewan, of course, AJ Ouellette leading the charge, Stevie Scott leading the charge for the Alouettes here. I think from a starter perspective, I think that AJ Ouellette is a better starter. I think that Bertrand Hudon is a very good backup. I think that Tice, I think it's Tice, as being good for the Alouettes as well. I think Stevie Scott's been good. I think that's being a big speaker of that offensive line, which we're going to get into O-lines just after this. But I think the Riders, I think they have the edge there personally. In the running back department, is it Stevie Scott for you, or is it AJ Ouellette? I think it's AJ Ouellette.
Yeah, I have no faith in Stevie Scott.
I can't say I have no faith in him. He's performed well.
Well, if you're comparing it to AJ Ouellette,
I think AJ Ouellette holds more. He's able to put up more of an individual performance, whereas I think Stevie Scott is more reliant on a good offensive line. Not that a bad O-line can break it no matter what, but I think AJ Ouellette would be able to get a little bit more out of it. There. So I'm going to give that to AJ Ouellette. I think that's a clear advantage for the Riders, which then brings us to the offensive line. Now, for this, I've gone on to the football database, as they have really good stats on all sorts of this sort of stuff. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Montreal Alouettes are actually tied for second for the amount of sacks they've given up. So they're exactly the same in that regard. On the passing game, they've given up 26 sacks apiece in the passing game over the course of the regular season. Again, this is not counting playoffs. If we're looking at the amount of yards lost from a sack, the Alouettes have done slightly worse. They've given up 176 yards lost from sacks, whereas the Riders have only given up 165. So a difference of about 11 yards. That is against the passing game. Against the for the rushing game here, the more successful rush blocking has actually went, funny enough, it's went here to the, because I'm going to look at the average. I'm not going to look at the amount of yards. I'm going to look at the average here because I feel like that's a more fair comparison because that's per carry, you know what I mean? The Riders and Alouettes, unironically, were actually ranked second and third last, with 4.77 yards per carry on average for the Riders, 4.67 for the Alouettes. However, I will say I was very impressed with what I saw from that Alouettes offensive line in the playoffs, especially against Winnipeg, just because I obviously paid a little bit more extra attention in that game. I thought they were just absolutely brilliant. And I thought that O-line worked perfectly in sync with Davis Alexander in terms of when Alexander felt, when that pocket was about to collapse, the Alouettes O-lineman really allowed it to collapse in such a way that allowed Alexander to get out of the pocket and make the plays he had to make. However, the Riders O-line, it's been a huge step up, and we're going to be doing a video on the CFL Awards. Don't worry, we will get to that. However, we do have to mention that there are 2 award winners from 2025 on this Rider O-line. Logan Ferlin wins, it's like the Veterans Award. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm actually going to search it up here. 3 Down Nation posted about it. Logan Ferlin won the Jake Godner Veterans Award. So this was who best Canadian who demonstrates the best attributes of Canada's veterans: strength, perseverance, courage, camaraderie, and contribution to Canadian communities. For him, and then of course, kind of most importantly, for the argument that we're kind of looking at right now, O-lineman of the year. That goes to Jamarcus Hardrick. Yoshi Hardrick of the Saskatchewan Roughriders gets it done there. Me personally, Rick, with the incredible performances I've seen from both of these offensive lines, because I really do feel like we have potentially the two best O-lines in this Grey Cup. In terms of when you're looking at them as a unit, I think this is a tie. I think this is a draw. I think this is too close to call. What about yourself?
I can see that.
Yep. So that then brings us to our next spot here, and I want to hear you speak a lot more about this, Rick, because I went in deep with the O-lines. The receiving game for the Riders against the Alouettes. Again, I would not be surprised if Robustelli is not healthy. But again, that's where the Riders, thankfully for them, they got a lot of talent that they can cycle through. What do you think about that matchup?
So you have, well, I'm not going to include Johnson because Johnson's injured.
Okay.
So you have Myers. You have Emelis, Robustelli, Tommy Neild, and Keon Schaefer-Baker. And then if he plays a Joe. On the Montreal side, you have Tyler Sneed, Tyson Philpott, Austin Mack if he plays, Cole Speaker, Charleston Rambo, and that's it for Montreal.
Yeah.
If you take Sneed and put him with Philpott and included Austin Mack, those three receivers can go against any three receivers.
Yeah.
On Saskatchewan. Even if you put up Myers, Johnson, or if you put up Emelis and Keon Schaefer-Baker, it does not matter which receivers you throw at Montreal. Receivers will still do a lot better.
Yeah. So, like, if I'm looking here, because I think one thing that's going to be interesting to compare is if we're looking at the passing game here. The Riders overall had a lot higher of an average over the course of the year. However, I think both you and I agreed that these numbers are maybe a little bit skewed, as the Alouettes, some of their key receivers spent a good portion of the season injured. Looking at Tyson Philpott.
On both teams.
Looking at it. Yeah. I mean, because here's my thing.
Okay.
Schaefer-Baker is injured for a while. I'll give him that. Are there any other ones that were injured for a significant amount of time, quite like Austin Mack was?
Let me ask you this. What do you classify as significant enough?
At least 6 games.
Okay. So, Sneed was out for 7. Robustelli was out for 8. Emelis only played 7.
Okay, well, fair enough. You know what? Fair enough. You actually, you've given me enough there.
Johnson only missed 2, and Myers only missed 3.
I'll give you that. Saskatchewan's had more of them as well. Fair enough. Although I will make the argument as well, though, that at least even when they did have those guys out, they still had Trevor Harrison, whereas the Alouettes had to go to fucking Morgan. So their game was hindered in some way, because the Riders ranked 4th in receiving yards, or passing. Who gives a shit? Same thing. 5,205 total for the team. Montreal 4,583. They were a bit behind. Now, in terms of that percentage, that completion percentage, so this would be a mixture of a QB slash, I mean, everyone considers it a QB stat, but it's really a QB slash receiver stat. Saskatchewan was third in the league at 71.5. The Alouettes were second last with a 66.6. Again, I think that seriously gets hurt by Morgan playing a good portion of the year. Who do you give the edge to in this receiver matchup? Because there is a star-studded lineup that in an argument you really can make both ways. Because I think the Alouettes have very much that core that is just deadly. Snead has really had a really good breakout year. It seems like. Mac has been great when he's been in. Tyson Philpott's been very, very consistent. Charleston Rambo has been very good. Speaker has been very good. With Saskatchewan, the actual guys that they've had playing has been constantly changing. But every time it's changed, it's still, the production hasn't gone down. So whether that's Robustelli, Schaefer Baker, Tommy Neal, Samuel MLS, Duncan Busby, Myers, Keyshawn Johnson, whoever it's been, they have still been very, very productive. Like, I've never really felt like that production has significantly dipped, even if they've all gotten shuffled around into different spots. And that's a very good trait. They have that flexibility where if guys get hurt, guys get injured, they still figure it out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So where do you lean with this receiver group?
I would say Montreal has the edge.
Interesting. I think for me it's too close to call.
But at the same time, it all depends on the injury to Davis Alexander, because he's not 100%.
Yes, it all depends on if he how he looks out there. No, that's true. I'm gonna go with too close to call for me. I think it's just too close. Now, if we go to the special teams side of things before we get on to the defense, we got the lineup of Maltos Diaz versus Brett Lawther. Now, I have to be a little bit fair here because I have had my doubts about Brett Lawther. I still do have my doubts about Brett Lawther. I wouldn't say that they're gone. However, I will say he one field goal was missed last game in the West Final, and it wasn't Brett Lawther who missed it. Shockingly, it was Sean White. Sean White was the one who missed a field goal, which is not a common thing. Lawther went 3 for 3. Now, again, his longest was a 34-yard field goal. So, again, context, guys. Context. But as much as Lawther looked good, Maltos Diaz went 4 for 4. Walk-off field goal with his longest being a 45-yard. I think he's just looked more consistent throughout the year. I still think he's looked very, very consistent in the postseason. I'm not going to lie. You have no idea how glad I was that he hit that field goal against Hamilton. Not because I didn't want Montreal to win the game. I wanted Hamilton to win. But Rick, you and I both know, even if he missed that field goal, he was probably kicking it through the back of the end zone. And I was worried that they were going to go to the Grey Cup off of a fucking missed field goal rouge. Like, if they did...
That would have been the biggest embarrassment of the league.
Well, you know what the thing is? The only time the CFL I've heard has made news down south in the last 2 years is when that happened between Saskatchewan and Toronto. I know that would have made news down in the States, and it wouldn't have looked good. It looked bad for the league when it happened, and that's one thing where I know a lot of people have questions about Stuart Johnston, and I was one of them. And if you didn't know if I had questions about Stuart Johnston, I did. Which is why I applied to the Meet the Commissioner event. And unfortunately, this year you were not selected in the random draw. While we truly appreciate your enthusiasm and continued support of the league. God damn it, they didn't select me. I did apply though, so it is what it is. But yeah, I think that would have looked incredibly bad had that happened. But I'm glad that he hits it, and of course he keeps that 4-4. And I think Maltos Diaz looks like he has that advantage over Brett Lothar because until for Saskatchewan, until that the Grey Cup game is done, and they see that like Lothar hasn't missed a kick or something like that, I think there's gonna be that worry in the back of their mind. You know what I mean? Until it's all said and done.
I've seen too much inconsistency from Lothar this year that there's no way I can go with Lothar on this.
Yeah. I think as much as he's capable of being consistent, he's also very much capable of being inconsistent. And Maltos Diaz has just looked better. And so I got to go with Maltos Diaz there. Which then brings us to the return game, which Montreal they've had Philpott there. They've had Letcher Jr. there. They've kind of used some random different people in that spot. I got to go with Mario Alford. Mario Alford's an established returner in the league. Montreal has just kind of went through multiple different people, receivers, all sorts of things just to try to, have them serve the purpose. Like, I'm not going to lie, returner feels like a bit of an afterthought on the Alouettes roster. Whereas with Saskatchewan, it's an integral part of this team. And so even though Mario Alford's had a back year, not a bad year, but he hasn't had the impressive year that we've seen from him in the past, kind of in a Janarian Grant sense. That potential is always still there. And I think he was decent. Like, one thing I do want to check here is I want to take a look at because if we look at, for example, kickoff return for the Riders, one return touchdown, an average of 24.89 yards. That is the highest in the CFL. The Alouettes have none, and they average 20.87. That is dead last in kickoff return. If we go to punt returns, the situation's a little bit different. The Alouettes do have one touchdown. The Riders do not. However, the Riders have a 10.9 yards on average. The Alouettes have 10.63. So the Riders have the slight edge, but I will give the touchdown to Montreal, puts them ahead a little bit in the punt return game. But in terms of the kickoff return game, it's not close. Saskatchewan blows Montreal out of the water there. So I'd say all in all, when we're counting the return game, I give the advantage to Saskatchewan.
To be honest, I wouldn't even do it that much because Alford has only played 11 games. Mm-hmm. And in those 11 games, he hasn't done much. Letcher's not that far behind him in two last games that he's played.
No, that's fair. Yeah, no,
Letcher has more of a punt return average than Super Mario does, but Super Mario has 3.2 average difference than what Letcher
and
does.
This is where in the punt return game, the Alouettes look like they have the slight advantage here. In the kickoff return game, it looks like Saskatchewan has the clear advantage. And I think one thing that is to of note here, hold on a second, is like, again, it just their special teams feel like a bigger, their blocking has felt like more targeted. Like it feels like they're trying to do something. It feels like kind of an integral part of the game, whereas with Montreal, it's felt like a little bit of an afterthought at times. But I think for me personally, I give the slight edge to Saskatchewan here. Though Letcher Jr. has done decent.
I mean, it's not even Letcher Jr. It's Tyson Philpott. It's, to me, this year, just Alford hasn't bring that much. I mean, besides the one kickoff return.
That's fair.
That he's got. To me, he just doesn't.
That's fair. I think the blocking. I think the rider blocking. As much as
he has in the past.
That's fair. I can give you that. Which will then bring us to the defense. So if we're looking at the defense here, Saskatchewan, they got Carney, they got Sod or Rose, depending on who you see in there. Johnson and Baldonado is kind of your front four. For the Alouettes, you're looking at Aguic. Oh boy, I mispronounced that. Or Sean Lemon. And then, of course, there's Dylan Ring, Robertson, and Adiemi Berglund. And so, two strong defensive lines here. Now, if we're looking at... I want to take a look at some stats here. Defense. If we're looking at defense against the passing game, currently, the Alouettes... So the Alouettes came in second in sacks, and the Riders came in third. Alouettes got 44 over the course of the season. Saskatchewan got 43. However, it is to note that Saskatchewan, in terms of sack yards lost, was first with 353. The Alouettes, 326. So, Alouettes catching them behind the line more often. Saskatchewan catching them behind the line less often, but usually deeper in their backfield. So, that's an important thing to look into here. Now, if we look into the rushing average against, so this is, so you want to have a low average in the sense of if your average is 5, that means that you're averaging giving up 5 yards per rush. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Saskatchewan was first in the league. They had the lowest average, 4.59. Montreal, third last, with a 5.36. The only two teams lower were Calgary, and then, of course, Hamilton the last with 5.72. Saskatchewan plays very well against the run game. Montreal, very mixed bag. In terms of against the passing game, pretty darn equal. But I mean, we've seen, like, one thing I will say is that Alouettes defensive line, at least from like the games that they had played against Hamilton, especially the game they played against Winnipeg, they were a problem for Zach Collaros. That D line was constantly getting through. So where do you, how are you feeling about the defensive line matchup between these two teams?
I mean, there's really only 2 players on Sask and 2 players on Montreal. If you take Carney and you take Johnson from Saskatchewan, and then from Montreal you take Berglund, and then Ujuak, and then the odd you could sprinkle a little Lemon and Win in there. But I mean, those are if you take those 2 defensive ends from each team, that's pretty much your I would say it's pretty even.
Yeah.
Then I would say one favor than the other.
Yeah. So, all in all, final verdict for you?
I'm going... You could do a toss-up.
I'm going toss-up as well. I think it's just a little bit too close to call. Now, this next one
is going to be interesting.
Ooh. We got some heavy hitters because if we're looking at Saskatchewan, firstly, we got Jameer Thurman at middle linebacker, Brooks Jr. at the Sam, and at the Will, it's friend of the channel, AJ Allen, the chess master himself, who also got his ass whooped by an 11-year-old, but it was like an 11-year-old chess wizard, so that's okay. So.
Well,
I say this as someone who would have totally got his ass whooped by this kid as well. I'm not gonna lie, I love that segment on TSN. It was just adorable. It was sweet.
But then if you think about it, over on the Montreal side, you have Najee Murray, Sankey, and Beverette.
Yeah, you got Therese Beverette and Darnell Sankey. That, you know what that is? That is the two-headed monster right there. That is like, or even honestly, if you look at that unit, you know what that is? That's that three-headed dog that you see in the first Harry Potter film. Like that's what that is. That's the three-headed dog, man. That's the three-headed dog. This is a great situation where I think there is, firstly, this in terms of, I think I can confidently say that out of both of these teams, that has some of the most talent dispersed throughout. They like just these are two elite linebacker cores.
What I would say, and people can say I'm smoking something, I will give Montreal the slightest small edge.
I actually do as well. I agree with you.
Only because of that third linebacker.
Yeah.
Najee Murray is better than Brooks Jr.
And that was, honest to God, that was the exact thought process I had. Tyrese Beverette, Darnell Sankey, Jameer Thurman, AJ Allen. I think that pretty much cancels out. I think Murray's slightly better than Brooks Jr. And that's where, I totally, I 100% agree with you there. I think the Alouettes have the slight edge in the linebacker group, which then brings us to the secondary. If we're looking at the Alouettes here, you got Sutton, who had gotten the interception last game. Lorenzo Burns, who was on the show. Check it out. Kabian Ento and Kennedy III, as well as Marc-Antoine Dequoy on the Alouettes. If we're looking at the Riders side of things, we're looking at Marcus Sayles, Roland Milligan Jr., Fields, Campbell, and CJ Rivas. And then also you got Lacombo that you can just throw in there. This is another difficult one. Like if we're looking here, if I'm looking at that passing defense, firstly, in terms of yards given up, wow. Okay, hold on a second. In terms of, I want to look at something. So in terms of yards per pass attempt, okay? So per pass attempt, the amount of yards that they gave up, okay? Mm-hmm. The Alouettes had the best secondary in the league, 7.66. They're ranked first. Riders in yards per pass attempt given up. So every time there was a pass attempt, on average, they would give up 7.66 yards, which was the best in the league. The Riders, third last, 8.93. If we're looking at interceptions, the Riders were second in the league with 24. Alouettes, right in the middle at fifth. They had 18. So Riders, a little bit better in the interception category. Alouettes, a little bit better in not giving up a massive amount of field all at one time. If we're looking at percentage, the Riders were able to, the both Montreal and Saskatchewan held them to a very, so the Bombers had the best percentage, was 62.2. There would only be a completion that percentage of the time against their defense. The Alouettes and the Riders are neck and neck here. Alouettes second, Riders third. However, the difference is so minimal. Montreal, 68.5. Saskatchewan, 68.8. Like, that is such a close margin that I think you can just ignore that completely. And so this is where I have a hard time. Because, again, the edge goes to Montreal in terms of the yards that they've the yards given up is less. They've given up 4,625. Saskatchewan 5,141. Alouettes first in the league in terms of from a defensive stat point of view from there. Riders second last in the league. The only team worse than them was the Edmonton Elks. But then the other factor of this is, again, interceptions are game changers. You know what I mean? Those turnovers can decide games, and they have. That has been a huge factor. I mean, I think of the Winnipeg Montreal game, and what if Brady Oliveira doesn't fumble it when we're on like our own fucking 12-yard line, things like that. That changes the outcome of games. That's where that stat is so important that it weights itself just as much as that Montreal being first and Riders being second last in terms of the amount of yards they're giving up per attempt. And when I look at that Rider secondary, I look at a guy like Roland Milligan Jr. Was he not defensive? Was he defensive player of the year last year, or was he the nominee? Because I think he might have won. I'm trying to remember here. Let me hold on a second.
I honestly don't remember.
Roland, because it'll say here. Roland Milligan, CFL. Roland Milligan, because it'll say on his Wikipedia what kind of awards he has. Yep, he got most outstanding defensive player last year. And he's a 2-time CFL All-Star this year and last year. And then, of course, 2-time CFL West All-Star as part of that. Roland Milligan Jr. is a game changer. He is. And so that's where I struggle. I struggle with this, Rick. Where do you how do you feel about this? About the secondaries?
I am going with Saskatchewan.
You're going with Saskatchewan?
I am going with Saskatchewan.
I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm gonna be boring. Too close to call. I'm gonna be boring.
It is what it is.
Yeah. No, I just like if I'm looking at these teams are so incredibly close. They are so incredibly close in terms of a raw talent perspective. I think the Riders across the roster have a slight edge. But again, if it comes a kicking duel, that favors the Alouettes. If we're looking at which team is more red hot right now, we're looking at the Montreal Alouettes. And so, one that we haven't mentioned, that we haven't chat about in prior ones, Rick, is the coaching duel. How do you feel about Corey Mace versus Jason Moss? Because I will say, Jason Moss is the only one out of these two that has a Grey Cup as a head coach. However, Corey Mace, what he's done in Saskatchewan is just incredible.
I'm trying to see if there is one for head coaches.
And of course, this is the matchup for the Coach of the Year, right? And we won't know till way later because they're not announcing it at the awards.
Yeah, because the team decided, let's announce it at the
because they're idiots.
The CFL Combine,
which is so dumb.
Yeah, I guess there's really no season series per se. You know what? I'm gonna look at the season. Let's see. But I'm pretty sure when Saskatchewan did play them.
So do you want to know an interesting
34-6, which would have been
I have an interesting one.
What's that?
Do you want to know the all-time record between Montreal and Saskatchewan franchise playoffs, regular season, all included?
Sure.
So, the Alouettes and Rough Riders, over the course of both teams' entire existence, have played a total of 83 games. Who do you think leads the series? I'm going to tell you right afterwards.
Montreal.
Montreal does lead the season series. They lead it, or not the season series, the franchise series. They lead it 51-31, and there was one tie between these two teams. So 51-31 and 1 for the Alouettes. All time.
The one game that they played this year in the regular season was during the week that Alexander was out because Saskatchewan beat them 34-6.
Yeah.
So I would say if I'm going to be watching the Grey Cup on Sunday, I'm more looking forward to the defensive matchup between Nolan Thorpe and Corey Mace. Being both defensive coordinators, that's the matchup that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because are we going to have a game like we did in week 1 of the playoffs where it was the BC Lions and Calgary where it was like 63 points? Or are we going to have a game like last week where it was just kicking until a touchdown was scored?
Yeah. Like, because if I'm looking here, the thing that we also need to discuss is a year that Rider fans don't like, because it is hold on a second. It is something that Rider fans do not like to chat about. And it is the last time these two teams met in the Grey Cup. Do you remember what year that was, Rick?
No, I do not.
2009. This Grey Cup was at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, 2009. Do you remember what happened at the 2009 Grey Cup, Rick?
Oh, yes.
There we go.
Yes, I do.
So
this was the 13th man.
This is the infamous 13th man incident, which cost the Riders the ultimate prize of Canadian football, the Grey Cup. That incident is the reason we are not talking about a franchise with 5 Grey Cups, but instead with 4. Of course, the Alouettes have a total of 8 Grey Cups. Riders with 4. Riders won in 1966, 89, 2007, and 2013. Alouettes, 1949, 1970, 74, 77, 2002, 2009, 2010, and 2023, just 2 years ago. The 97th Grey Cup in 2009, final score 28 Montreal to 27 Saskatchewan. This almost was a 27-25 victory, as Duval goes for the field goal. And he misses it. And it looks like the Riders have won the Grey Cup. Until flags are down. The call is made. Too many men on the field. 10-yard penalty. The Alouettes get to redo the kick. Duval hits it. It's good. Alouettes win the Grey Cup. One of the most infamous stories in Canadian football history. And it's funny, if you actually rewatch that, Rick, you can even hear the announcer go, "Oh my God." Thinking like, "Oh my God, this is it. Like, this is gonna cost him the Grey. Like, this is just absolutely bonkers insane." So if you're Saskatchewan, this is the chance to get revenge. To avenge that loss. Like, if I'm the Riders, I'm thinking we have to win, and we have to win this year against this opponent. If you're Saskatchewan, what is more motivating than we get to wipe that from our memory. We get to get the win, and we get to do it in our opponent's building.
I was just gonna say, just think of how pissed off Bomber fans are gonna be if Saskatchewan wins on Bomber.
Yeah, I won't be pleased. I'll put it that way. And I will say, I don't know the stats for Saskatchewan here, but a fun stat here that was posted, credit to cfl.stats.geek and Alouette Central on Instagram. The Montreal Alouettes, when wearing their blue uniforms in the Grey Cup, have a 2-4 record. The 2 wins that they've gotten are in 1974 and 2023. The other 4 times they've worn it haven't gone so well. So, Alouettes have a losing record with that uniform combination. I don't know what it is for the Riders, because they didn't post that, but I just thought that was a fun fact. Now, the interesting thing as well is, Rick, is we've seen a lot of predictions. We're going to talk about the old Dutch ones in just a second here. But I want to, which are exactly, I'm not going to lie, it's exactly what I expected. But I want to talk about the AI chatbot predictions. That's right. All of the different AI platforms were asked for their prediction. And all but 5 of them picked Saskatchewan. The 5 that picked the Alouettes were ChatGPT, ChatSonic, Claude, Quailbot, and Overchat. Everyone else took Saskatchewan. Just a fun fact. And also for MVP, they picked either, for the Riders, they picked either Trevor Harris or one of them said Dante Myers. One of them said AJ Ouellette. One of them said Davis Alexander, even in a Riders victory. So
It's quite possible.
It's not common, but it is possible. And the other ones for the Alouette victory said that Davis Alexander, all of them have Davis Alexander winning MVP, except for one that gave it to Tyson Philpott. So, interesting prediction there. Now, here's my question. I want us to also give, firstly, a MVP for both teams. Potential. Okay. We're just going to assume that the winning team gets MVP. Okay. And also... Hold on. Can you hear Zach there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's yelling. Sorry about that, folks. And then the other one is most valuable Canadian as well for both teams. So, firstly, for most valuable player...
Okay, first off, are we going with Pick'ems first, or are we doing this?
We're doing this first.
Okay.
The for most valuable player for both teams, for the Alouettes, I think I have to go Davis Alexander. If the Alouettes win, I think Davis Alexander will get it. That big winning streak taking them all the way to the Grey Cup, I think that will be a narrative center point. And I think he would get most valuable player. What do you think?
I
could see Tyler Sneed though.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that. Now, this is if Montreal wins.
Okay. Correct.
No, I'm asking you. Okay.
Yep.
I'm saying that it's not going to be Davis Alexander.
Ooh.
Only because his hamstring bothers him this game. I'm going to go with Philpott.
You're going Tyson Philpott? Okay.
I'm going Philpott.
And if the Riders win, who is your most valuable player?
Okay, hold on. Hold up. I gotta pull up their roster.
I think personally, it would go to AJ Ouellette.
You know what?
I think AJ Ouellette would win it.
Oh, how am I gonna do this? Man, this is gonna be so hard. Ugh. I'm gonna say Fridge. Why do they have to have so many good American defenders?
Well, we're looking. We're not looking at Canadian yet. We're just looking at most valuable player.
I know that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just trying to think. I can't decide between Campbell, Thurman, Milligan Jr., or Sales.
Ooh, you're going defensive.
Yes. And it's so hard to pick. One of them.
I'm going AJ Ouellette personally.
Okay. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark, and I'm gonna go deep end, and I'm gonna say Campbell.
Wow, you're going interesting.
Only because Campbell's going against Philpott. So if Campbell's gonna friggin' win it, he has to shut down Philpott.
Okay. Now, if the Alouettes win the Grey Cup, who is your most valuable Canadian?
Canadian?
Also, is the Canadian status indicated on their depth charts or no? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, so it's
Or does the little star mean American?
Star means American.
Ah.
So I'm going to say,
and yeah, okay, so it looks like they're on both. So most valuable Canadian, if the I think it would be I think it would be
I want to see if this person is a Canadian or if this person is
who?
An American.
Are you because I think
Hold
that
on,
might
I don't want to.
Okay, because do you want to know what I was thinking?
Who were you thinking?
I was thinking potentially Tyson Philpott.
Okay,
like for
so
me,
my guy,
it's one of
my guy is not an American. So you're going with Philpott?
Philpott or Adiemi Berglund.
I was going with Berglund. I wanted to see if he was an American or a Canadian. He's actually Canadian.
Yep, I was going to go with either Tyson Philpott or Adiemi Berglund, depending on the performance of the game.
I was contemplating on Berglund, Dequoy, or Philpott.
And then on Saskatchewan, do you want to know what mine is? I got mine.
Oh, I know who yours is.
I got fucking AJ Allen.
I knew that's where
man.
you were going.
Get it done, man. No, get it done, man. Although I think Schaefer Baker's Canadian as well. He is. Yeah, it could be Schaefer Baker as well, though.
But the thing is,
ooh, Logan Ferland's Canadian though as well. And so is Tommy Neild. So is Samuel Emelis.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a receiver for the Riders,
unless it's AJ Allen.
I mean,
hey, Emelis, he's a man that's been in the news a lot.
Schaefer Baker, Neild, or Emelis. You can't go wrong with either one.
I'm going with either AJ Allen or Samuel Emelis. For most valuable Canadian.
I will go Neild.
Oh. I mean, he got that big touchdown near the end there, so.
Or, you know what? You're going to call me crazy.
Oh.
And
let's see if I call you crazy.
How crazy am I going to go with this? Okay, he is a Canadian too. So this is just going like way outside midfield. So before I say this, how low do you think this score is going to be? Like, do you think it's going to be like very close, or do you think it's
Firstly, I think this will be a very close game. Secondly, I don't think I think both teams. I don't think either team will get 30 points.
call me crazy? I've been bugging this guy this whole entire time. Fucking Brett Lother. Got to go outside the box.
For
This
what?
guy's kicking the game-winning field goal for fucking player of the game.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be crazy. You know it's gonna
It's
be
gonna be
crazy.
something like that.
He's gonna go for the game winning kick. He's gonna miss, and then you're gonna find out that the Alouettes had one too many players on the field, and then he's gonna redo the kick. He's gonna fucking hit it, and Saskatchewan will be happy beyond belief.
It's gonna be one of those things where it's like gonna be someone that no one least expects. Because if I'm not corrected, can it not be someone on the
Yeah, like watch
team?
like Duncan Busby have like a career game or something. Like you know?
That is the Canadian, does it not have to be on the winning team, or can it be on the losing team?
It can be on the losing team, but again, it's very much like the NHL where you have to be so ungodly incredible on a losing team to actually get it.
There goes my predictions out the window. Because I was gonna say, no, knowing us, it's gonna be something stupid where it's like friggin' Houdon from friggin' Saskatchewan.
Well, something terrible would. In order for him to get
injured,
Ouellette would have to get injured for him to get the playing time to get it done.
I mean,
also, Amar Doman had a post on his Instagram story that was actually happy this time instead of him getting upset about calls. So there's that. But anyways, Rick.
Yes. Who am I going with?
No. Old Dutch Pick'ems. Where
Old Dutch Pick'ems. This is how bad of a language Canada is. The French are sticking with the French, and the English are sticking with the English.
Yeah, you thought I was about to say, you thought that divide would have went away, but nope. Now, I will say, I do think that the English riders are more like they're not all behind one team as much, where they're kind of spread out a little bit in their biases. They all pick Saskatchewan here. The French riders, from everything I've seen, if Montreal Alouettes took on prime Tom Brady in the New England Patriots, they'd say the Alouettes would fucking win. So we got to put this in a little bit of context. They all took Montreal. And I'm not going to lie, Rick, as I am sitting here talking to you right now, I don't know what my pick is. I still don't know.
I can tell you, I'm going with my pick. Only because I only have 1 out of 2 left in my Pick'em's prediction. So I am going with Riders. Because that's the only 1 out of 2 teams I have left in my Pick'em's. Even though I said that Riders would be a runner-up.
This is difficult for me because on one hand, as a Bomber fan,
I
can't. Well, it's not that I can't pick the Riders. I picked the Riders in a billion games this year in terms of who I thought would win.
Just not in Grey Cup.
Well, hold on a second, Rick. Let me finish what I'm saying. I want the Alouettes to win as a Bomber fan. If the Riders win the Grey Cup, there's a few things. Firstly, I won't hear the end of it because they won in our building. I won't hear the end of it in that regard. And the fact that we did not win it when we were in their building. That's one thing. The other thing is, there are some people I will be happy for, though. And what I will say is AJ Allen deserves a ring in this league. I texted him telling him that because I believe that that's true. Jamarcus Hardrick, as a former Bomber, I got a lot of respect for Yoshi. I'd be happy to see him have success. Andrew Harris, running backs coach. I'm happy to see him have success. Corey Mace, I believe, as a coach, is good enough to worthy being a Grey Cup champion as a head coach. I still have to cheer for the Alouettes, though, in the game. With everything I've seen from the Riders, from the Alouettes, the Riders look so goddamn determined after years and years and years of failure. Like, this is a team that's been to the Grey Cup a lot. This is a team that, since being established, oh God, when were they established? Since the Riders were established, hold on a second, I'm searching it up. In 1910, 115 years ago, in a league that has predominantly had around 8 to 9 teams for the majority of it, maybe 7 at certain times, maybe a little more when they did the American expansion that went terribly bad. Believe it or not, Las Vegas Posse wasn't exactly going to be successful. They have 4 Grey Cups to their name in 115 years. As much as I'm rooting for the Alouettes, I think the Riders are going to win it. I think they'll find a way. I'm going with what I think is going to happen. I'll be at the game. I'm excited for that. I'm going to be at a lot of the Grey Cup Festival stuff. I'm going to be checking some of that out. I'm going to be going Saturday to the Waboneza Street Festival. Going to check out that. Going to go to the CFL Fans Fight Cancer event. All sorts of shit. I think the Riders are probably going to win the Grey Cup this year.
I'll just be glad once I don't have to hear about Davis Alexander's freaking 14-0 garbage.
And I will say, as much as I am not cheering for the Riders and I'm cheering against them, I'm not exactly cheering for Davis Alexander. There is a part of me that's like, it'll be nice seeing that guy get humbled, you know? But so it's a mixed bag. But honestly, I want more than anything, more than really wanting any particular team to win, lose, whatever. I want a good game. I want a injury-less game. I don't want injuries. I don't want guys getting hurt. I hope we just have a good, hard-hitting Grey Cup game. And I hope for a good performance by Our Lady Peace. That's what I'm a real fan of at that game. It's not Machine Gun Kelly, it's Our Lady Peace.
While you're at having all the fun and eventful stuff this weekend, I will be on the Canadian Football Central channel.
You're going to be live streaming.
Live streaming this weekend. I will be live streaming both OUA games at, I believe...
Well, and also this Sunday you're doing the Grey Cup on the channel. So I want to mention that because I know a lot of people will be tuning into that for sure.
So 12 and 3:15 on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I'm pretty sure pregame will be at 5:30. So we will be live streaming it. Then we will be doing we have never done this before, so I figured why not since I have Monday off. We will be doing a little bit of After Dark, where we'll be talking about stats, numbers, and the whole shebang.
And that's over where? Sorry?
On our channel, part of the Grey Cup video, we're going to go extra.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing this.
Well, yeah, because I'm off on Monday.
Oh, fair enough.
Because I had pre-planned it so that if the Ticats made it to the Grey Cup, I was off on the Monday.
There you go.
We will talk numbers. We will give our thoughts. And all of that fun jazz on Sunday night.
Is there anything else?
Yes. On next Saturday, so that is a week, this upcoming Saturday at 2 o'clock, depending on if Carter can or not. Either way, I will be live streaming the Vanier Cup on the channel as well. That is on the 22nd of November. So we have 4 games within the next week coming up on the channel.
There we go. So, is there anything else that we got there, my friend?
Yes, there's going to be another video that's coming out this week at some point.
The CFL Awards.
Yes.
We're going to be doing that video.
Which I still think, as I found out the wrong way, that the CFL is rigged.
That'll be a fun
We will
video
discuss
to
it in
record.
more details when you see my reaction.
Fair enough. Is there and I think that's it
Anything else?
now.
No. That is
At
it now.
an hour and 16 in.
I tried to make it as long as I could.
Zach's recording the Jets game right underneath me as the Jets were up 3-2 and they lost 5-3 and he's not happy. So I think that's pretty much all we have. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video, share it around, and subscribe. And of course, if you haven't joined the Discord, make sure you guys join the Discord. Link in the description below. As all the CFL chat, NHL chat, all sorts of stuff. It's all, oh my god. Zach is he's in the room right underneath me screaming all this.
And I'm surprised your parents aren't like, Zach, keep it down.
They've learned that's a losing endeavor. Anyways, peace, love, and positivity, all you wonderful people at home. And we will see you guys next time.